Good morning, everyone. I'm here with Tim Moody. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Pan Global Resources. It's an exciting time in the resource markets, and we're very pleased to have Tim Moody join us this morning. Good morning, Tim.
Yeah, hi, Sharon. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to hear from you. And let's get right into it, Tim. You know, there's a lot going on in the market. Pan Global had some very good results this morning that were announced. And I wanted to hand it over to you to talk about those results. But maybe before we get started, just give us your sort of view on the copper space.
Yeah, well, I guess we were having a brief chat about this not so long ago about the world seems to be between in two minds. On one hand, you can see the green energy transition potentially driving the copper price to levels that some people say sort of hitting the stars, and on the other hand, you're seeing China, which is not recovered as quickly as people might have expected, and so I think perhaps at the moment there's more skepticism out there or uncertainty about how quickly China's going to recover, given their role, the role that they've had in terms of driving the copper price over the last couple of decades. So there's that. We're seem to be in an in-between period, but I'm still of the view that at some point things are going to turn around, and the world is still going to need a lot more copper than to meet the demand. So we've just got to hang in there, I guess, for this current period while the market seems to be pretty sluggish.
Yeah, I tend to agree, Tim. I mean, certainly there's no shortage of commentary on how bullish the world is or should be on copper and other elements for that matter. And so we share the same view as you, as you know, we're still very bullish on all commodity prices. Let's flip really quickly, Tim, to these very good results that you put out and highlighting with investors on the tremendous value that exists in Pan Global.
Yeah, thanks. This was a batch of about 15 drill holes. The last of the drilling we did at Laramana. Look, there were some pleasing numbers in there. Laramana continues to deliver. So perhaps if I could break it down, there were a mixture of some step-out drill holes and some infill holes. So the step-out holes showed the mineralisation continuing to the north, and it's still open. In the east, it seems to be somewhat changing to more narrow threads or bands of high grade, but still continuing. But it looks to be thinning or petering out in that direction. But to the west, it seems to be quite open, and that's where we're seeing this the tin copper combination. So those holes, the step-out holes off to the west, were perhaps the most encouraging. We haven't drilled very deep in that area at this stage, and it's still very much open. Getting 30 odd meters of perhaps on a combined copper tin basis around 0.5% equivalent, with some high grade within that. So that's the step out drilling, still open, still growing. But then we did the infill holes. There were really two parts to that. One was we drilled off in the northeast where we had, so there was some farm infrastructure that prevented us getting in there and drill out a particular patch, and we just happened to have some very high grade intersections near that. So we did 3 or 4 holes in that area. That's extended that high grade from those earlier holes. So that's encouraging. I think it was a 5.2 meters or there, 5.6 meters at 1.2% copper interval, for example. But there were some other high grade intervals in that patch as well. So that just filled a gap. And then the other infill holes were off to the west, and those were part of the program where we drilled 3 holes to help or complement our tin metallurgy program. So we used that drill core for the tin metallurgy tests. Nevertheless, we assayed those. They've showed the copper tin mineralisation continuing, but it also included some really, really nice results. Some broader intervals at 15 to 20 metres with copper and tin, with some high grade sections that probably on an equivalent basis of 7 or 8 meters of perhaps around 1.5% copper equivalent. So that was pretty encouraging. Certainly confirms the sort of continuity of the tin mineralisation in that area, and it looks like the copper and tin mineralisation continues off to the west, and the tin may actually increase as we step out into the Romana West target. So some nice numbers there. Laramana continuing to deliver. We've grown it a little bit to the north, and we've further confirmed the continuity in a couple of areas. So that really summarises those results. So perhaps, Sherman, I guess the next steps at Laramana, I should mention, is really the focus now on the western extension in what we're calling Romana West. So for those of your listeners who've been following the story, we were waiting for some time to get access to a big farm in that direction. We got access about 2 or 3 months ago. We've hit that ground hard with lots of geophysics, geological mapping, sampling, etc. And we had the drill rigs on there within a few weeks of getting access. So we've got a 25-hole program planned in that area. We've completed now about 8 holes. I think we finished the 8th hole in that area just this week. So we're still waiting for results to come in. But I expect we'll be reporting the first batch of results from the Romana West target in the next sort of 2 or 3 weeks. That's thereabouts. So so looking forward to that. We know that the mineralisation is continuing. The geophysics is very positive in that direction. I think it's still looking like we're going to have a good extension of the Laramana mineralisation in that direction.
Well, that's a great update, Tim. And that's exactly the question I was going to ask is what can investors and shareholders anticipate next? But you've covered that off. Maybe any closing comments on, the overall excitement of the project?
Yeah, look, I think the other thing is the other news flow to come. There's the Romana West results, the first drilling in that area that we'll report in the next few weeks. But we've also got the follow-up drill holes, the 3 holes we did at Kenyatta Honda, which is a new target. I think we've spoken about before, where we drilled a few holes and we've been getting copper and gold mineralisation. Perhaps we're onto an early sign indications are that we could be onto another discovery in that area. So very early days yet. The 3 follow-up holes we did were all pretty wide-spaced holes testing different geophysical features. So we reported the first of those, some of the first results from that follow-up program a few weeks ago, but the other 2 holes will be reported pretty soon. I think we're waiting for 1 batch of results still. The other area that we've got to report is Sarcita. So that was a sort of big target up in the north. We drilled a bunch of sort of reconnaissance holes. So we've got those results to report as well. So, but look, our priorities at the moment are Romana West, near surface mineralisation extension of our main target, main prospect, and also to follow up Kenyatta Honda, where we've, and hopefully we do have another discovery there. And then, of course, we've still got a bunch of other targets we haven't even got to yet. So lots to look forward to, I guess, Sherman, is what I'm saying. There should be a steady stream of news flow coming into September. The other thing I should perhaps just state, Sherman, that I get asked about what's Pan Global sort of thinking about at the moment, what sort of in terms of our direction. Look, the way I see it is that I think Pan Global has a number of really sort of positive attributes that somewhat set us apart from many of the other sort of copper juniors. One, there's not many junior copper explorers that have an advanced copper project to begin with, but to have one in a great location like we have, a mining friendly area. We've drilled 160 holes already, and we're adding to that every day. So I think what I'd like to do is working hard to position Pan Global to be one of the better opportunities for those investors, and when the market starts to show some signs of improvement, we'll be one of the first companies that they look at.
Well, thanks, Tim. I mean, clearly you're setting the stage for just that. I mean, what a remarkable opportunity for investors to be able to buy a world-class story in a world-class jurisdiction with some world-class management. So in closing, Tim, I just really want to thank you for taking the time, and congratulations on the continued results.
Yeah, thanks, Chairman. All the best.